What's good, everybody? It's John. Come back at another video. This video is going to be super special to me because with this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a story that I read several months ago, and it has completely changed my life. It's changed the way I view myself. It's changed the way I view other people, and completely changed my perspective of the world. And this story I hold very near and dear to my heart because I often refer to it whenever I experience times of hardship, right? Moments where I might feel a little down, and I refer to the story to remind myself of who I am, to remind myself of my power, of my capabilities, and where I come from. And I know that this video is, and the story that I'm going to share is going to uplift your spirit. And so this is why I believe that this video will find you when you need it most. So first and foremost, I want to ask you a very simple question. Who are you? Right? Most people would not be able to answer that question. Most people don't know the answer to that question. Most people go their whole lives living their lives without ever knowing the answer to that of who they are, right? Isn't it kind of crazy to go through an entire lifetime and never ask or question or try to figure out who you are, right? Even though you're supposed to be, like, this is supposed to be some of the most important information to you, right? Because the better you understand yourself, the better you can navigate through life, right? Oftentimes people get caught up with trying to figure out everything about the world that they often forget about themselves, right? So when I ask someone or ask you, who are you, right? Most people will reply with their name. Oh, I'm Joel, right? See, the thing is, you're not your name. Your name was given to you at birth by your parents, and you could have been given any other name, right? So you are not your name. And you can also legally change your name as well. So you're not your name, right? So knowing that, people will say, oh, well, clearly it's my body. That's me, my body. But you don't say that you are an arm or that you are the leg, right? Like, you say it's my body, my arm, and my leg. So because you're using the word my, that means that your body belongs to you. That means it belongs to something. So you can't be your body either, right? At this point, most people are stumped. But the reality is that you are soul, you are essence, you are spirit. That is your true state and your true form. You traveled from the spirit world, the spirit realm, here onto the physical so that you can experience this physical existence, right? You chose to be here and to participate because you wanted to have fun here. You wanted to make the most of it and experience what it was like to be human, right? But spirit is and has always been your true essence, right? Because once this physical lifetime is finished, right, you'll transition back to your natural state. Now, the spirit realm and the spirit world, this is a place where all things exist, where abundance is effectively the norm, where you can have access to anything you want at a snap of a finger, right? You can have anything. And because you're spirit, that means you are perfect. That means your true essence, your true DNA is perfect. You come from perfection. And in the spirit realm, you can have anything you want instantly, right? At the snap of a finger, right? So this is a realm where you don't even need money because you can just instantly spawn whatever it is that you want, right? You want to live in a million different houses, you could create the houses. If you want to drive all the fast cars, you can do that. If you want to eat all the amazing food, even though you probably don't even go hungry there, right? But you can have that too, right? So just imagine being in the world where you can have anything you want instantly. The caveat with that is, if that is the norm for you to be able to have access to anything at a snap of a finger, then the caveat is that you won't truly get to experience it because that is all you know, right? How can you get to truly experience the powers and the gift that you have of perfection and abundance if that is all you know, if that's all you've been accustomed to, right? And let me give you an example. If, let's just say, like, if we refer to some of the science movies where, you know how there's like a test subject that they were in, like an all white room where there's no doors, and like the ceiling and the floor and the walls are just all white, right? Imagine you were born and raised in a white room, in that fashion as a test subject, right? If you were born in that room and the temperature has always been room temperature the entire time, there's no way for you to know whether hot and cold exists, right? Because if you're in a room that's always been room temperature, right, you've never experienced warm weather or cold weather, you don't know if that exists because you've never got to experience either end of that spectrum, right? If I were to ask you, right, say you were born and raised in that room, right? If I were to ask you, are you tall or short? You wouldn't have the answer to that because you wouldn't have had the opportunity to compare yourself with other human beings to determine whether you are actually tall or short, right? You've probably never seen many other human beings aside from, you if you were in that room your entire time by yourself, right, then you obviously wouldn't be able to compare yourself with other people. So you wouldn't have the answer to that, right? Another example, and let's say, that you're back to reality, right? It's easy for you to spot good food when you taste good food because you've experienced what it was like to taste bad, unseasoned food, right? You got to experience the spectrum, so it is easy for you to determine whether something can be like bad or good as far as like tasting food, right? And this is for all things in life. Because we're able to experience the opposite ends of the spectrum, that allows us to get to experience life. And so think about it. If we come from a world where we can have anything at a snap of a finger, how can we truly get to experience our power if that's all we've known, right? We would then have to go into a place, into a world where it appears that we don't have anything, so that we can finally be able to experience our true power and the gifts that we were given. So this is what the physical world is all about. This is why when we were born as babies, we were born not knowing anything, and we were also born pretty much not owning anything either, right? Like, of course, our parents had to take care of us and we had to grow up and all these things, but we all started off as babies, as clean slates, for that reason, so that it can appear to be that we are experiencing the end of the spectrum where we don't have anything, we don't know anything, where nothing belongs to us, so that we can truly get to experience our power and our gift and our essence of being able to create, of being able to create the life that we want, or to create the things that we want to have in our life, right? That's how it all works. And in this physical world, there's also a time delay, a time gap, because remember, in the spiritual world, you can have anything instantly. So if we came into the physical world and then we can just have everything instantly, immediately, then once again, it'll be no different than we won't be able to experience it because that's all we know. And so there's a time gap and a time delay in the physical world so that you can get clear on what it is that you want, and so that also it can be a gradual process for you to get the things that you want, so that you can truly appreciate them. Because if you can get anything that you wanted at a snap of a finger, right, then this physical existence will be no different than the spiritual realm, right? So there needs to be some differences here, some contrast, so that you can truly experience your power and your gift. Because in this lifetime, you can be, do, or have anything. So you still share the same power that you had in the spiritual realm. It's just a matter of there being a time delay that you won't get everything at a snap of a finger. And that's okay, because then you get to experience your true power. You get to experience the power that you have of creation. You get to experience the perfection that exists within you, and you can then begin building towards the life that you've always wanted, right? I think the reason why a lot of people struggle in life is because they never ask the question of who they are, right? And a lot of people have forgotten their ways. A lot of people have forgotten who they really are. And the reason why I say this video will find you when you need it most is because this video is here to remind you of who you are. It's to remind you of where you've come from. It's to remind you of the perfection that exists within you, right? Because you are spirit, you are essence. That means you're perfect. There's no flaws in you. And you are simply your perfection occupying a human body, right? So you come from a state of perfection. And you come from a place of abundance. That abundance is your birthright, right? That abundance is your true form and your true essence. You were not meant to be here on this earth struggling. That's not true to your essence. And the reason why you know this, and I know this is why everybody knows this, but people may not be fully aware or accepting of it, is because when you think of struggle, when you think of hardship, you feel bad. And the reason why you feel bad is because your inner being, your true self spirit, disagrees with struggle. It disagrees with hardship, right? This is how it works. So the reason for this physical existence is so that you can experience who you are and who you've been this entire time, right? There's a lot of people that they want to experience being courageous, right? So if you want to experience being courageous, then there's going to need to be obstacles in your way that seem large, that seem daunting, so that when you overcome those obstacles, you'll be able to prove it to yourself and to everyone else that you are courageous, right? If you want to prove to yourself that you are strong, well, then you probably need heavy objects or heavy things to lift so that you can prove that you're strong. Otherwise, how else would you know that you're strong, right? So in the face of challenges, in the face of adversity, right, these are all still beneficial, positive things, because then you can tap into the perfection that exists within you. You can tap into the abundance and create solutions for what appears to be problems, right? But your situations and your circumstances are nothing more than illusions, because they're always subject to change, right? For a lot of people, they see these things and they think of this as being life sentences. These are not life sentences. You can always change your situation, your circumstances, your conditions, right? You created them. So just as you created them, you can just as quickly change them, and you can improve them, right? And you can look at whatever situation and turn it into positive, right? It doesn't matter how bleak the situation might be. See, this is the power that we were given as creators, right? It doesn't matter how bad a situation might be. You still have the power within you to change that. It doesn't matter if you're struggling financially, right? Ideally, I don't think anyone wants to be in a situation, right? But if you're struggling financially, then guess what? That's an opportunity for you to tap into the wealthy side that exists within you. Why? Because your spirit, you come from abundance. You come from a world where you can have anything at a snap of a finger. So that anything already exists within you. How so? You have an imagination. With this imagination, you can create anything in your mind. All of the objects that you see, all the material things you see in the world, with the exception of nature, was created in the mind of another human being. It's created in the mind of man. And these inventions, these creations, was able to create monetary wealth for these people that created these inventions. So considering that people invented things, people that used their imagination, right? Other people that were no smarter than you helped shape the world to where it is now, then you can also do the same as well. That is why you were born rich. Even if you were born as a baby, as a clean slate, not having access to anything, or even if right now you might not have access to anything, you were born rich for that reason, because you have the power to create. And that power to create can never be taken away from you, right? You will always have access to that power no matter what. That's the one thing that can never be stripped away from you, your power to create. Because you have access to imagination that can make anything, that can bring anything from your mind to the physical world, right? And you were not given the power to imagine things just to not be able to create it, right? You were given that power to imagine so that you can create it and bring it to the surface. This is you tapping in to that spirit, to that essence, right? This is how life is, and this is how life works. See, the reason why I say that this video will find you when you need it most is because I want you to remember who you are and who you've been this entire time and where you've come from, right? You agreed to be here so that you can experience outrageous joy. You agreed to be here so that you can experience the gifts that you were given, the true power of abundance, the power of having anything your heart desires, because that is the world that you came from. And you being brought here into the physical you can now experience that, because in the spirit world, it was all you knew, right? Just snap of a finger, you could get anything you want. You can't experience it because it's all you know. In this world, you came here as a baby, as a clean slate, not having anything, not knowing anything, right? So abundance is it's not all you know here, because you've already experienced not having anything. So if you've experienced not having anything, then you can tap into the power that exists within you to create the life that you want. So then you can experience that. So then when you go from nothing to having everything you want in this lifetime, then that's when it becomes a fulfilling life experience. Then that's when you're able to live a life and be grateful for it all for that reason. So this is why I say the things that I say, because I'm just so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about what I do. And this is all special to me. This story I hold near and dear to my heart because it reminds me of who I am. And because you and I are the same, it reminds me of who you are. It reminds me of the truth that we come from, who we've been this entire time. So once again, this video will find you when you need it most, because this video will remind you of who you truly are. So that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe as we're on the road to 1 million subscriber, guys. So once again, it's Joel, and I'm out. I'll see you guys for the next video.